The WLBT 6 p.m. report is next.
Let me tell you something. You invade my privacy this way 6 months from now, I'll whip your ass.
Governor Kirk Fordice responding to the controversy surrounding his relationships.
You're watching WLBT. From your #1 news team, Marcia Thompson and Howard Ballou, Woody Asap with weather, and Rob J with sports. This is the WLBT 6 p.m. report.
Good evening. It is no secret that Governor Kirk Fordice and the First Lady Pat Fordice have not been very happily married in recent years.
But tonight it is clear that the governor's plans after he gets out of office apparently do not include the First Lady. And that is our top story tonight. WLBT News has learned Governor Fordice took a vacation in Europe. He apparently spent time with his childhood sweetheart there. A Memphis News reporter was able to photograph the governor and his lady friend as they came back to the Memphis, Tennessee airport. Tonight in an exclusive report, Bert Case brings us more on the scandal.
This picture of Governor Kirk Fordice with his childhood sweetheart Ann Garber-Crisson was taken at the Memphis airport last Sunday night by a Memphis News reporter. They had just returned from a vacation together in France. The reporter recognized them on a flight from Atlanta to Memphis and also saw them kiss while on the airplane. They were picked up in a state car with an untraceable tag driven by Jody Rigby, the governor's chief of security. This was Governor Kirk Fordice's reaction when we tried to ask him about it at his Madison home Monday.
Hello, Governor. How are you?
I guess you get paid for this, Bert.
Yes, sir.
Let me tell you something. You invade my privacy this way 6 months from now, I'll whip your ass. You have no damn business playing these games.
I'm on a public street, Governor.
Okay, you're on a public street? Goodbye, Bert. You know damn well what you're doing. And you mess with me.
Hey, Governor.
I'm no longer in this
Governor,
office.
you're still the governor of the state of Mississippi, and what you do is news.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Well,
How was your trip with Ann? How was your trip with Ann Crisson to Europe?
have a brochure, Bert.
Did you enjoy it?
Man, what a way to make a living.
How do you feel about the way you're treating your wife for 45 years?
This is where Kirk Fordice went to high school and then very affluent East Memphis, Tennessee. East High School was built in 1948. He graduated in 1952. He was quarterback of the football team and a hero at this school. It was the reunion of the class of '52 in 1992 where he was reunited with his junior high school sweetheart, Ann. Fordice sent local media a fax in 1993 saying he had irreconcilable differences with his wife. She put out a fax the next day saying she would remain First Lady as long as she could. Fordice told this reporter in 1994, "When one says goodbye, one should leave, and I wish someone would tell my wife that." Fordice almost died when he wrecked this Jeep Grand Cherokee just north of Grenada on his way back from Memphis in 1996. He had been spotted with a woman who matches Ann Crisson's description, holding hands and having wine in a Germantown, Tennessee restaurant earlier that day. Sources close to the governor confirm Ann Crisson was a guest at the mansion in the First Lady's absence April 7th and 8th and accompanied him to the Beau Rivage Casino Resort on the coast. We have also learned Mrs. Fordice has spoken with one of Jackson's most prominent divorce attorneys, but she is yet to file any action. As we reported earlier, he has bought a house in Madison, which Mrs. Fordice has never seen except on television. Bert Case, WLBT News.
And this week before his vacation in France, Governor Kirk Fordice was on a state-sponsored trade mission to Germany.
That much was made public. Beyond that, spokesman Robbie Wilbur and Buddy Bynum, spokesman for the Department of Economic and Community Development, said they knew very little about the governor's itinerary.
President Clinton ought to resign. We now know that he's a liar.
Governor Kirk Fordice last year at the height of the Monica Lewinsky-Bill Clinton sex scandal.
We're not afraid to come out and speak our opinion about a public official or about anyone else. That's one of our great freedoms. I think it's one thing that makes us strong. And if you're going to run for office, you should expect that.
However, when the shoe is on the other foot,
I have a house at Madison. I now live in the mansion, and whatever other are the relationships in there, it doesn't have a darn thing to do with this news program, does it? This sounds kind of crazy to me.
we know the governor was in Germany on a state-sponsored trade mission, but Fordice spokesman Robbie Wilbur said the governor's travel plans after that were known only by the governor. And Wilbur says he didn't know whether anyone joined the governor on his post-trade mission vacation. In this travel itinerary document, WLBT News found that the governor booked and paid for a flight April 30th through Avanti Travel for Anne G. Crisson to fly Delta Airlines to France. Departure date, May 28th. On May 29th, we are told the governor's chief security officer, Jody Rigby, returned to the United States. On May 29th through June 1st, Fordice and Crisson reportedly stayed at this hotel in Paris, then traveled to Normandy June 2nd and 3rd. And concluded their vacation at the Hostelry Le Clos in this French city. They left de Gaulle Airport June 5th and arrived in Memphis at midnight Sunday. Robbie Wilbur says the governor made his own travel arrangements for vacation and paid his own vacation expenses. The First Lady, Pat Fordice, remained in Mississippi. And the First Lady declined comment tonight. Lieutenant Governor Ronnie Musgrove was acting governor while Fordice was out of state last week. Musgrove said the governor's staff did not tell him where the governor would be, but he felt confident he could have reached Fordice.